al-fi'l al-madi. We've learned about the present tense verb, which is called al-fi'l al-mudari'. Now, al-fi'l al-mudari' is not exactly the present tense verb. What else is it? Future. Very good. Now, what else can I give the meaning of? Besides the past and besides the present, besides the future. Continual, habitual, perpetual. Yes, very good. MashaAllah. In al-fi'l al-madi, we also learn about two different types of al-fi'l al-madi. We learn about the active and the passive. Anyone remember how to distinguish the active from the passive in past tense? Yeah?
So in passive, you put a dhamma on the first letter and a kasra on the second letter.
Very good. So for example, daraba would become duriba. And kataba would become kutiba. And nasara would become nusira. What would nusira mean?
Someone being helped upon.
He will help.
He will help?
He was helped.
He was helped.
Oh, sorry.
Passive, right? He was helped. Duriba means? He was hit, right? All right, and the active tense doesn't have a dhamma on the first letter. That's what's important to understand about past tense. So, for example, I can say, Sami'a. Is this active or passive?
Active.
How do you know?
That's it.
It doesn't have a dhamma on the first letter. Whereas if we put a dhamma on the first letter, we would get what? Sumya. So, in passive, we have to have the kasra on the second letter. However, that doesn't mean that there can't be kasra on the second letter in active form. As we've learned, many words like hasiba has a natural kasra on the middle letter. Sami'a has a natural kasra. And so on and so forth. In al-fi'l al-mudari', we've learned so far about the active tense. Okay? Now, one of the things that we learned about al-fi'l al-mudari' is that al-fi'l al-mudari' is always prefixed by one of four letters. Anyone recall what those four letters are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ta. Hamza. Or noon. Very good. Atayna. Hamza, ta, ya, noon. Is a good way to remember how it is that you can identify a present tense verb. Good. Additionally, we talked about the fact that whenever it is that we have al-fi'l al-madi and al-fi'l al-mudari' in conjunction together, that there are 6 distinct possibilities of what it is that middle letter will contain. Example, we talked about the 6 abwab, we called them scales for now, which were, can anyone help me remember what they were? Fataha, which in the present tense was what? Not yaftaha. Yaftahu. Very good. We also had daraba, which in the present tense was ribu, with a kasra on the second letter. We also had nasara, yansu. Yes. Number 4. Where's that hasiba?
Sami'a.
Sami'a.
Sorry. Yeah, I was like,
Yasma'u. Then we had hasiba. Not yahsabu.
yeah.
Yeah. Salam. And then our last one, which was number 6, we had Karuma. Yak. Rumu. I think there's a little bit of missing clarity with regards to understanding what these 6 patterns are all about. Can someone explain what they understand about these 6 patterns? Go ahead, Amir.
That going from past tense to present tense, some of the harakas will change.
We're kind of like the face.
So when we're looking at any set of root letters in Arabic, you've learned about many verbs, right? You've learned about shariba. Shariba means what? He drank. Or imagine if we said the word kataba. He wrote. Imagine if we said the word qata'a. He cut. Imagine if I said the verb, jahila. He was ignorant. Yeah, he was ignorant. If we look at any of these verbs, by looking at their past and present tense, we will realize that there are times when the past tense middle letter may be a fatha and the present tense middle letter may be a fatha in some verbs, like fataha, yaftah. Make sense? There are times whenever it is that the past tense of a verb will have fatha on its middle letter and the present tense will have a kasra on its middle letter. For example, what's the example of that? Daraba and yadribu. There are times whenever it is that we have a fatha on the middle letter in the past and we have a dhamma on the middle letter in the present, such as nasara yansuru. There are times whenever it is that we have a kasra on the past tense in the middle letter and the middle letter also has a kasra on the present tense, such as hasiba yahsibu. And lastly, there are times when we have a dhamma on the middle letter in the past tense and a dhamma on the middle letter in the present tense, which is the example of karuma yakrum. It's crucial that we understand how to refer back to these 6 patterns, because the next time it is that we come across a verb, I may just tell you, hey, this verb is like sami'a. Okay? This verb is like nasara. This verb is like karuma. This verb is like hasiba. And in your mind, you should know, okay, that means the past tense will have this and the present tense will have this on the middle letter. Is that clear? Why we have these 6 patterns? Any questions? Okay. So we're ready? Yes. Sorry.
Passive has dhamma at the front and
In passive, yeah, that's passive, past tense.
passive have that.
You said dhamma on the front like this? Yeah, that's only in passive. And that's not necessarily, we're not talking about passive right now. With these 6 patterns, these are not passive. These are all active. These are all active. Otherwise, we wouldn't have fataha, we would have, if this was passive, what would this be? It would be fatiha. And if this was passive, this would be duriba. And this was passive, this would be nusira. And if this were passive, it would be sumia. And it would be husiba. And it would be kurima. That would be what the passive would look like if we were talking about the passive, but we're not right now. Anyhow, what we're concerned about right now, Muhammad, it's a question.
I'm good.
You sure? Okay. So what we're concerned about right now is looking at page number 48, and we're just going to identify by looking at these verbs, not the meaning as the chart wants us to find out. We want to look at something else. Let's look at page 48 and I'll tell you your instructions.
48, like,
In the book, yeah. Do you all have it pulled up? Okay. While you're there? The one that says adhabu? Okay. So before we actually do any translating, we have to do something else. And what our goal is identify the bab of each verb. Now, what is a bab? A bab is a door, literally. But when we're talking about bab in this context, we're talking about one of these 6 patterns. Okay? So for example, can you all tell me what number 1 says? Adhabu. Now, is that a past tense verb or a present tense verb? A present tense verb. What does the middle letter have on it? So it has a possibility of being of one of 2 babs. Which 2 babs does it have the possibility of being? Either 1 or either 4. How are we going to figure out which one of these it is?
The active or past tense.
We got to figure out what the past tense is. Okay? So if we look into the past tense of adhabu, what's the past tense verb? Dhahaba, which means what's on the middle letter in the past tense? A fatha. And the present tense also has a fatha, which means this must be following the bab of fataha. You all understand? So let's identify all of the babs, all of the abwab of all verbs, and then we'll come back and then we'll work on translating the actual verbs themselves. Number 2. Don't worry about the translation just yet. Number 2 says ya'mahun. Is that a word in the Quran? It is. Where is it at? Daqi. What? Shamrays. And where? Yeah, of course, the end of it. Alright, I guess we don't know it. What do we know about it? Ya'mahuna, is that a past tense verb or a present tense verb? Present tense. What is the middle letter? What is it? Mim. What's the first letter? Okay, good. So, the root letters therefore are Ain, Mim, and Ha.
Oh, it's plural?
Yeah, it's plural because the Una. So, the middle letter has a Fatha, which is the Mim. What is the past tense of Ya'mahuna? We gotta find out. It's in our word list.
I don't think it doesn't sound like a past.
Let's look it up. Let's look it up. It's there. It's in our word list. If you scroll up, you will find the past tense of Ain, Mim, and Ha.
Yeah, it's Amihat, so it's gets from the second letter.
Ah, very good. What page is it on?
46.
46. Page 46. The first verb is Amiha. Our past tense is Amiha. Therefore, it resembles which bab? Just like Sami'a. And one thing that we see is that they've only given us the past tense here. The present tense is in the problem. Ya'mahun. So you got to figure out this must be from bab Sami'a. The dictionary is not going to tell you what bab is from. You're just going to have to figure it out by looking at the past and looking at the present and know, oh, it's this bab. That's what it's following. Okay? So Amiha Ya'mahu means he wandered about and he is wandering about. So Ya'mahuna is they. Very good. MashaAllah. Let's look at number 3. We'll do the translations in just a bit. We'll come back to the translations. Let's just figure out the babs for now. Our verb is Yaj'alu, which is in the Quran, right? Like where? يجعلون أصابعهم في آذانهم. ها؟ يعملون. نعم في أصابعهم يجعل في آذانهم من الصواعق حذر الموت. والله محيط بالكافرين. Surah Al-Baqarah. Second page, right? So يجعل, the past tense version is not written here. Has anyone figured out what the past tense is?
Ja'ala.
Ja'ala.
That sounds right.
That sounds right. And the present tense is yaj'alu. So therefore, we know this is following which bab? Fataha yaftahu. We're not going to say first, because this order is not standard. Okay? There's no standardized order of babs. So what you want to do is remember this follows the pattern of Fataha yaftahu. Okay? There is no standardized order. How much time is there till Adhan? Okay. We'll go for 4. Let's look at number 4. A'lamu. Is that in the Quran? Where? Yes. وَأَنَا أَعْلَمُ بِمَا تُبْدُونَ وَمَا كُنْتُمْ تَكْتُمُونَ. And so on and so forth. There are many examples. أَعْلَمُ. Is this past or present?
Present.
What's the middle letter? Lam. And it has a... What's the past tense version? You found it? You know it. How do you know it? Because if you know the Quran, you already know the past tense. That's the beauty. If you've memorized the Quran, you can think, عَلِمَ اللَّهُ أَنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ تَخْتَانُونَ أَنفُسَكُمْ. You can think of many ayat wherein which the middle letter has a kasra. So you just know. That's the beauty of memorizing. Alima, past tense has a what? Kasra. Present tense has a fatha. So what bab is alima? Sami'a yasma'u. Very good. Let's look at number 5. Na'budu. Where is that in the Quran? Muhammad. Come on, you say it 17 times a day. Very good. Yeah. Na'budu. What is the middle letter?
Oh, middle, I'm sorry.
Middle letter.
Ba.
Ba. What does the ba have? Dhamma. What is the past tense?
Oh.
It's abada. You know it from a surah in the Quran. You all know it from a surah in the Quran. Huh? Yes. Yeah, where's the past tense in Surah Al-Kafirun? Huh? That's not past tense. No. That's not a verb. No, that's not a verb. Abidun has a tanween on it.
Oh.
وَلَا أَنَا عَابِدٌ مَا عَبَدْتُمْ. عَبَدْتُمْ. Like فَعَلْتُمْ. Like ضَرَبْتُمْ. Like كَسَرْتُمْ. Like نَصَرْتُمْ. The second person, plural, masculine. Very good. So, abada in the past tense has a past tense has a, guys, you're sleeping. And present tense has a dhamma. Therefore, it follows the pattern of nasara yansuru. Good.
One more.
No, we have to go. So we'll do that, and we'll conclude afterwards.